Sonali, let's talk a little bit about where these cuts are going to come. Are they across the board? Is it US, Asia and Europe? What details do we know?
So there are cuts across the board. There's very heavily weighted in the U.S. We've been talking about them scaling back on the U.S. investment bank for some time now. It amounts to hundreds of job cuts. Obviously, right now, there's also a story out in the Wall Street Journal that cites thousands of job cuts over the next couple of years that may span not only different regions, but also different businesses as well. But what we can look forward to. Yes, just the next couple.
When do we think staff are going to find out about this? Because I guess if you're working at Deutsche, that's probably what you want to know about right now.
Yeah, that's definitely what we're grappling with right now. Obviously, here the 4th of July weekend is coming tomorrow, next week, and we're going to hear about it probably starting a little bit next week, but mostly the week after that, July 9th, is when everything really starts to happen.
In terms of how this fits into the wider structure that Sebing is trying to put forward, there's good news and good news today on the stress test. He looks like he's going to make some significant cuts. This all fits together in some ways. How does this fit into the kind of put this in the context of the broader plan?
Certainly, last night, them surpassing the stress test was certainly a surprise. It's not something everyone saw coming after years of them failing. However, remember, cutting jobs is a costly exercise as well. We're waiting on Sebing now toward the end of July to explain what the equities cost cuts will be and how that will affect the cost base, but also other parts of their restructuring plan, including their bad bank. So the equities is just one part of the story, but certainly the Federal Reserve news is good news. But we don't really know what costs associated with this restructuring plan will be yet.
Will Garth Ritchie be one of those that is likely to go?
Yeah, so that's certainly something we've been reporting. It's not announced yet, but it's something that's being discussed among top executives. We have a profile we wrote about him this week about kind of the tension that's around him. Certainly, he grew up in this equities business, and so for him, this is a really tenuous time. But it's not clear what his role would be at the bank in the next coming weeks.
Sonali, this is a CIB, so you've got the kind of more commercial side and you've got the more investment banking side. How does cutting equities kind of rebalance those two parts of the business?
Certainly, a lot of people like to draw the comparison to UBS. Remember, a number of years ago, UBS was scaling back in fixed income to focus on equities, and now you see that out of Deutsche Bank. They're scaling back on equities to focus more on fixed income. Remember, they have a global transaction bank. They have a retail network, also a private bank that they've been building up. So you have different parts of the bank that they are focusing on. Let's not call this a large-scale retrenchment of Deutsche Bank, certainly in the Americas. We do see the fixed income talent rising at the bank quite significantly. Peter Salmon was the head of equities. He's stepping down, which in the Americas means James Davies is the head of that unit. He's fixed income talent. So let's definitely make sure we're watching out for where they play in fixed income markets moving forward, especially on the investment banking side, where we see them strong still in leveraged finance, for example, among other things.